We now move on to the next presentation, which is from Steve Wilson. Steve's the Technical Director of the Environment Protection Group Limited. Steve's one of the main authors of the SUDS manual, and he's been busy helping landscape architects successfully design retrofit schemes in a number of different locations. He's going to demonstrate today that SUDS can be used on any site in the UK to provide cost-effective surface water drainage systems. His talk is on delivery on challenging sites. Steve. Somebody's just walked out as you've come up in.
I've offended wherever. Happens all the time. So it's usually housing developers that are walking out of the room. How do I get this going? Off we go. So, busting the myths. I've got to toe the corporate line, Mr. Schaffer told me earlier. So, lots of myths surrounding SUDS. I was working with Kevin Tidy yesterday, heard it yet again, written into a report. You can't use permeable pavements on this site because there are clay soils. You hear it all the time. Other things you hear, SUDS cannot be used on contaminated sites, we can't use them on sloping sites. All the issues there that are listed. They're very serious design constraints that you can't dismiss, but none of those are a reason for not using SUDS on sites. You also hear that SUDS are expensive to construct. All the evidence that we have shows us that SUDS aren't expensive. And finally, the old one, SUDS need a lot of land take. So hopefully, what we've done in the SUDS manual is dispel all these myths. So my friend Bob and Wendy here, they've got the right idea, and they've actually known about this for a long time. Yeah, the key thing at the bottom is what Bridget and I think Sue have alluded to, both of them, working together. So Bob and Wendy have known this for a long time. So all we have to do is get on and do it, and then we'll get SUDS done. So where can we use SUDS? Everywhere. Yeah, there isn't a site in this country where you cannot use SUDS. We're different in each site because it's all site specific, but you can put it everywhere. Not all the benefits might be fully realised. SUDS isn't the only thing that developers have to consider. But what you do need to do is think about multifunctional spaces, use pervious surfaces, and then you can start to integrate these things into high density developments. Most schemes usually end up using a combination of landscape and engineered features. I don't really like that term. I don't like the term green and grey. To me, they're just all SUDS and using the appropriate solution for the site. And the manual now explains how to do this. It explains how to design SUDS into contaminated sites, high density sites and all the other ones. But what you do have to do, in addition to multidisciplinary working and master planning the SUDS into the site, you do have to use engineering analysis and judgment. And we have to throw the old rule book away because a lot of the rules that we use for normal drainage aren't applicable to SUDS. And if you use the old rule book, that's when you start getting into problems and think you can't use SUDS. So what is SUDS? It can be on the left, it can be open landscape, equally it can be pipes in the ground and big attenuation storage structures. As far as I'm concerned, again, they're both SUDS and they both complement each other. Yep, contaminated sites, yes. You have to work with a remediation contractor. On the right-hand side, we had to line that wetland because of contamination in the ground so that we didn't mobilise contamination. On the left-hand side, we're re-engineering a landfill and we're putting all the mucky stuff underneath the open spaces. And then the SUDS are going in those open spaces. So we've got to design the SUDS to accommodate what's being done in the remediation. Sloping sites, no problem. Where's Mr. Bray? One of his sites there. The other one's one of Sue's sites. To me, it's just an engineering problem, and you come up with a solution for it, working with other people. High density developments, dead easy. On the left-hand side, that's one of the retrofit schemes that Sue was referring to at Queen Caroline's estate. And all we've done there is put a little rain garden in the corner of a car park. There's no reason why you can't do that in a new development as well when you're originally building these things. And it doesn't have to be permeable paving everywhere. We can look at these small interventions, as Sue has said, and fit them into developments. And on the right is a fairly big swale that's been master planned into a street at Upton. Again, high density developments, use blue roofs. Start thinking about the other opportunities. So in this site here, that's a site where the building covers the whole footprint of the site. And people say you can't do suds on that. Yet that site, the suds on the roof and the podium deck, is managing the 1 in 100 year event plus 30% for climate change. It's also reusing condensate from the air conditioning system. So we're starting to bring other things into it, this whole integrated approach. Small sites, well, everyone's doing suds these days, even the local builder. Everywhere around where I live in Wokingham, you get a small builder and they all know how to put permeable pavement in. Probably the biggest hassle they have is the weirdo who keeps coming round and asking them questions about it while they're putting it in and taking photographs. But they can do that. And on the left-hand side, again, just small interventions like that will work. Do we need land take? Not if it's integrated into the design and master planned into the design. On the left-hand side, again, my kids, I get told off when I go on holiday taking photographs. Oh no, not drainage again, is it? But on that left-hand side, a raised planter on the entrance to a supermarket in Lake Tahoe in America has been used. That's managing all the roof water from a section of the roof in that supermarket. And it's not using any land whatsoever because it would have been there anyway. They wanted it there for other reasons. Suds are expensive, so I hear. Well, I've yet to see any evidence that shows me that a well-designed sud scheme is expensive. And that's the key to it. It's well-designed. And we worked with WSP and HO Wallingford a couple of years ago on a DEFRA report that supports that fact. And there's also experience from other projects where DEFRA did a comparative costings exercise, which is on both those documents are on the susdrain website. So if you do get the Homes Builders Federation coming along and saying it's expensive, you know where the evidence is. Taylor Wimpey, volume house builder. They used suds at a site in Leicestershire, which gave them 16% cost savings compared to just providing attenuation storage. So even volume house builders are starting to understand how they can use cost-effective suds to save them money. The only fly in the ointment is that sometimes they might be more expensive to maintain. The problem with that is it's an organisational thing. It's what an organisation already does in an area, and are you telling them to do extra work, such as landscape maintenance, where they may only do gilly cleaning at the moment. Finally, I think we have got another Bob, who you might all know in the sustainable drainage world. So I'll let the other Bob have the final word. I think he would agree with this sentiment. Let's just get on with it. So in summary, suds can be used on all sites. All these issues are design constraints, and we can just design around it. They're not expensive to construct, and all the evidence is there to demonstrate that, and they certainly don't need a lot of land take. So thank you very much.